men are really being underserved somewhere as a group in society, by therapy, by just particularly younger guys, that there's no one really there to support men to be male. Like, I meet so many guys who, it's like they feel ashamed. They actually wish they weren't men or something like that. And that to me is wrong. You know, it's okay to be a guy. It can be very challenging to be really male in today's world, but it's also okay. It's also okay. And so in this workshop, because there is other men's work out there, some, particularly, for example, the Mankind Project, which I haven't been so directly involved in, but a lot of my buddies in therapy have, and I think it's excellent work. But I also wanted to bring in more of my own learnings and skill from body-based therapy, from real full-on emotional expression, going into anger, allowing vulnerability, working with the body in bioenergetics to remove holding patterns from the system, you know, so that you don't so much learn ideas of who you should be, but we just take out the blocks that are in your system, and you become more naturally male in any direction you want to go in with that masculinity. Whether it's really being, you know, capable of holding a line, being a strong man, being a leader, you know, or whether it's, you know, feeling okay to be vulnerable, you know, to share your heart, to really talk about what's happening in your life, you know, with total honesty and without fear. This whole mindset, you know, who should I be? You know, because we have a certain degree of choice, you know, should I be this kind of man? Should I be a tough guy? Should I be really sensitive and caring and nice and always trying to get it right for women? But in all of that, there's something underlying which is missed, huge, like who actually am I, you know? And so my work is more, not so much at a cognitive level, a little bit, but it's more taking out the blocks. And who is remaining is who you are. And when you come to that, you realize it's okay. You actually are okay as a man. In all the extremeness and fullness and wildness and passion and power, it's really okay to be a guy. And you don't have to keep trying to manufacture a personality and, you know, trying to make a special, perfect you for some reason. And with the patriarchy, you know, it's true that basically very few of us had, you know, I grew up without any positive experience of authority, to be honest. You know, without a positive experience of authority. So in my teens and 20s, I just assumed that all authority was wrong and needed to be confronted, you know, and shouted at, and the cops were wrong, and the government was wrong, and the whole state apparatus, all hierarchies were intrinsically wrong. And it wasn't until my 30s that I started to question that belief and think, hey, maybe it was my own childhood more than it was the world out there. Because my ego was so strong, you know, and like, the reality is so few men in particular, and women also, growing up had a really positive experience of authority or boundaries or masculinity. You know, the men have been away at work, you know, they're working, you know, even in a good relationship, they're working very hard often, and they don't have the time that they naturally would have in a more natural society to be there for their kids and to be the positive male presence. You know, so many kids grow up without a good dad, and they somewhere assume it's the world that's a mess. In Project Man, what we do, there's quite a lot of bioenergetics and emotional expression work in the morning, and that means stuff where you really open up your body, particularly if you're caught up being a kind of nice guy all the time, or a tough guy hiding from feelings. And we do some confrontational exercises once your energy is up, where you really scream out your negativity towards other men. And they do the same to you in a carefully held therapeutic environment. So you can really start to put out all the shit that you're carrying around with your dad, boss, brother, all this negativity you've ever had off men. You know, you can put it out and get it out of the way. And then in the middle of the day, we have a little break, tea break. We're working hard, so it's nice to have some breaks. And then I do a bit of talk about therapy and bioenergetics and understanding the body and the mind and how they interrelate. And then we do a little bit more bioenergetics or some challenge exercises. I won't describe all of them, but they often you know, involve taking a risk, basically, to go through something. And then we set up a very special space for the last 2 or 3 hours of the day, where the guys sit around in a kind of crescent shape, and one at a time, men have a chance to come up and stand in front of the other men and either share something they've been ashamed of that they've been keeping inside all their life, or talk about how something is not working with women or with their dad or with their boss, and receive some, like often we act out a bit of psychodrama, you know. A man may have had, you know, a very bad experience of his dad not loving him as a kid, not visibly giving him appreciation, and realize it's controlled his life. And we may set up something where someone plays the dad, and this guy can really go into all of that, all the pain and vulnerability and the anger that's there, you know. And so they really have an experience of clearing out this stuff. Because guys, when it all comes down, actually want to support each other to really be authentic and real. Even guys who've never done any group room work before, you know, guys in their teens who came into the space, very quickly it's like, whoa, you know, I really want to support other men to be real, and I really want to take a risk to be real myself, you know. It's a powerful space. Yeah. It's very powerful.